All right, so room attendants. Gotta admit, when you suggested this deep dive, I kind of had this image of like perfectly lined up shampoo bottles, maybe a chocolate on the
A
pillow.
classic hotel image.
Exactly. But then I dug into these RoleCatcher excerpts. Let's just say that career guide title, they're not kidding around. This is way more than meets the eye.
It really is. I mean, you wouldn't think a role often seen as just cleaning would be so multifaceted service, efficiency, even like problem-solving skills.
Right. Almost like they're what? The silent guardians of the hotel experience? Speaking of which, this whole detective work angle in the guide totally hooked me. They mention a room attendant who noticed this weird smell in a room turned out to be a faulty appliance. Talk about first responders, right?
It really makes you think about the impact they have. I mean, who knows what could happen? And it underscores the customer service aspect, too. We
Hmm.
usually think front desk, concierge, but room attendants. They set the tone for a guest's entire stay, don't they?
100%. That first impression of a clean, welcoming room, game changer. And get this, we haven't even touched on the tech side of things. RoleCatcher mentioning robot vacuums in the work environment section blew my mind.
Right. Like, we think of this as a very hands-on job, but technology is changing the game everywhere. And it's not just robots. Think smart booking systems for their schedules, mobile apps for guest requests.
Mind-blowing. But that doesn't mean it's getting any easier. The cons section, they don't sugarcoat it. Physically demanding, the occasional difficult guest. Sounds like you need the patience of a saint.
Absolutely. In fact, the RoleCatcher interview guide had some really thought-provoking questions about handling those exact challenges. Like, how do you handle a guest who's unhappy with the cleanliness? Talk about pressure.
Whoa! Makes those interview questions feel very real very quickly.
Right. It's not just about going through the motions. It's about gauging your ability to excel, even under pressure. Which, this is interesting. We tend to think of room attendant as a dead-end job, but the career stages section. Turns out that's a total myth.
Room attendant 2, senior room attendant, who knew? It's like a whole career ladder.
And when you think about the skills, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
You're managing your time, resources, maybe even leading a team as you progress. RoleCatcher even had examples of people moving into, like, front desk roles or management.
Wow, talk about a hospitality career path. And it's really cool how RoleCatcher itself is changing how people navigate these paths.
The platform is incredible. AI, resume analysis, interview practice, connecting with employers. It's like having a career coach in your pocket.
Seriously. It really does make career development accessible to everyone, even for roles like this that we don't always associate with, like high-tech tools. But I guess that's the point. This stuff's impacting every level of the workforce now.
It really shows how much things are changing, every level. But I don't think it's about replacing human skills. It's more like enhancing them.
Totally. Like, here are the tools, but you still got to bring the talent. And speaking of talent, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Yeah. What does a room attendant actually do? The typical responsibilities in the career guide, it's a longer list than I would have thought.
Easy to just picture that final result. You walk into this perfectly made up room, but behind the scenes, whole process.
No magic wand involved. The guide mentions it all: cleaning, sanitizing rooms, bathrooms, even making sure those little amenity bottles are full.
The wording's important. Not just cleaning, it's sanitizing. That implies a whole other level of attention to hygiene, right? Most people probably don't even think about that.
So true. It's about maintaining a standard, not just appearances, but health, safety, the whole deal.
Exactly. And hey, remember how they mentioned public areas a few times?
Mm-hmm.
Easy to forget, room attendants aren't just stuck in guest rooms, right? Those high traffic spots got to be spotless too.
Unsung heroes, keeping things running smoothly. Which, speaking of, those interview questions from the guide about difficult guests, those were something else. Any stick out to you?
Oh, that one about guest complaints for sure. Classic customer service scenario, but
Yeah.
in this context, way more delicate. You're in their personal space, got to resolve an issue, but stay professional, calm.
Takes a certain skill set to handle that well. It's not just about, like, calming someone down. It's problem solving on the fly.
Totally. And that ties into another big one they mentioned, communication. Room attendants not often a silo. They're the eyes and ears of the place, right?
Mhm.
Talking to maintenance, reporting issues, relaying guest requests.
The connecting thread that keeps things running. And speaking of behind the scenes, remember how the career guide blew our minds with those career stages, not just a one and done kind of job.
Right. Room attendant to the senior room attendant.
Yeah.
Taking on more responsibility, maybe even managing people, schedules, making sure those standards are met across the board.
And those example profiles, Brilliant. So much more powerful to read about, like a real person who started as a room attendant and worked their way up to supervising.
Makes it real, achievable. Shows you there's room to grow, even in this role. Leadership potential, building a career.
Yeah.
It's not just about cleaning rooms. It's about managing people, resources,
Right.
budgets even, as you move up.
Totally reframes things. And speaking of reframing, got to bring it back to RoleCatcher. This whole platform is all about giving people the tools to succeed and not just like the big wigs, right?
That's what's so cool. It's like they're making these tools accessible. AI resume help, interview prep. It can give anyone an edge no matter what they want to do.
It's like they're saying, hey, we believe in your potential. We're here to help you unlock it. And you know what really struck me? It's how RoleCatcher balances the tech with like the human side of things. They have that whole section on interview practice, and they really emphasize soft skills, even for a room attendant. Being able to, de-escalate a situation with a guest, think on your feet. Those are things AI can't really teach.
Totally. It's that blend of high-tech and human touch that makes the difference. I mean, a robot vacuum might clean the floor, but it's not going to pick up on a guest's needs just from, like, their expression or a quick comment.
Exactly. It's like they say, tech should make the human experience better, not replace it. And speaking of human experiences, the career guide touched on something kind of cool. Room attendants adding those personal touches to rooms.
Oh, for sure. Little things like a
Right.
handwritten welcome note or arranging the towels in a certain way
Right.
makes a huge difference.
And it probably makes the job more rewarding, too. It's not just cleaning a room. It's like you're part of someone's vacation memories.
Absolutely. Creating a sense of welcome,
Yeah.
being cared for.
Mhm.
Small gestures, big impact.
Speaking of impact, we've talked about the challenges, but the guide also mentioned how room attendants can be like the first line of defense when it comes to safety.
Oh, definitely. They're the ones who might notice things others miss. Leaky faucet, burnt out light bulb, even a loose doorknob. Could be signs of something bigger.
The silent guardians, making sure everything's good to go.
Exactly. And that attention to detail, being proactive, those are good skills to have no matter what you do.
So true. Makes me think about those career stages again. Even if you don't want to be a hotel manager, those core skills from being a room attendant, they're valuable in tons of fields.
For sure. Time management, problem solving, communication, those are doors to all kinds of opportunities.
The only constant IS change, right? As tech keeps evolving, it's those who can adapt, who keep learning, who combine those human strengths with the tools. They're the ones who are going to thrive.
Couldn't agree more. And hey, who knows, maybe someday room attendants will have robot assistants all working together.
Now that's a deep dive for another day.
Yeah.
But for now, big shout out to all the room attendants out there working hard to make our travel experiences so great.
Couldn't do without them.
So next time you're in a hotel room, take a second to appreciate the work that goes into it. Maybe even leave a thank you note. Those little things mean a lot.
Definitely do.
Until next time, everyone, keep exploring, keep learning, keep diving deep into the world around you.